19 working the assignment desk at the NBC affiliate in Market 131 in the country, you know, working real news and learning real news. And my education there is just fantastic. I believe broadcast journalism is wonderful, and it teaches you so much. It teaches you how to be in certain situations. You know, once I hosted a pet fashion show, and the next day there's a fire and everyone's running away from it, and I'm running towards the fire with my camera. And you have to be able to stay calm and read the room in both scenarios, and I believe my journalism education really taught me that.
Well, I think journalism is really important. I think, gee, I'm a little biased, but you know, today, I mean, more than ever, we need to know what's going on, whether it be a very local level like here at NCTV or to a bigger level. You know, whether, you know, a larger Chicago Tribune and beyond. So
yeah, and we need to be the fact finder. So when I was interviewing for this position, that's what I talked about. I said, my journalism background makes me a good fit for this position because I'm going to be your fact finder. I'm going to go out there and talk to the people who are members of the Chamber of Commerce, see what they like and what they don't like, and people who aren't members of the Chamber of Commerce and find out why. I want to look at that spectrum and see where I fit in, where the Chamber fits in, and where we can help the business community.
Well, and I think the important part is that you wanted to look at the whole picture, all of it, because everything, as we know, there are more than two sides to every story.
Correct.
That's right. So you also, when you were at the University of Missouri, you met your husband there.
I did. It's a long story for another time, but the second week of college, I met my husband.
Wow.
And he was a year older than me and came up to me at a party. I was in a sorority and he was in a fraternity, and we had a mixer, and he said, "What's your ring size?" And I said, 5.5, why? And he goes, "One day I'm going to marry you." And I was like, awesome. Okay. And we had this long going joke back and forth of, I'll meet you in Vegas. And we were just really good friends. And we went on our first date 6 years later. So just really good friends and reconnected later when he was in law school. And I was a morning anchor in Oregon, actually. Our first date, he called me, said, "What are you doing March 31st? Like, I don't know, waking up at 2 a.m. and going to work. And he said, "I bought a plane ticket. It's my spring break. I promised myself I'd take you on a date one day, and I'm going to do it." And he flew out, and we had our first date, and we've been together ever since.
Wow. That is
a crazy story.
Romantic.
Yeah.
You know, it could be a little bit of a Hallmark movie. You know,
it could be. I think there was like snow falling in the air or something. It was great.
That's awesome. So tell me how you were in news for a little bit. So tell me a little bit about that journey. So you were both a reporter and then you anchored? Yeah,
so I went from Columbia, Missouri to, I was a reporter in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Reporter, producer, photog, editor, I mean, jack of all trades. You learn to do it all, which I really think helps your education, not just in the journalism world, but in life when you understand how an entire ecosystem and how an entire business works. And then I moved literally coast to coast from South Carolina to Oregon and moved to Southern Oregon. So Medford, Ashland area, and I was the morning anchor of the ABC affiliate show there. And that was always my dream. I wanted to be a morning news anchor. I loved the morning news. You can show a little bit more personality there while still connecting with the community. And it's always been important for me to be connected in whatever community I am in. So I loved that. Great experiences. I got to sit in on open heart surgery. And watch a heart get taken off a bypass right there and learn about some new technology. I got a front row seat when we had Extreme Makeover Home Edition come in town. Got to see all of that, and really great, awesome opportunities.
That's wonderful. How did you, now you didn't stay in the broadcast field. You took a step out into another media role. How did that come about and why?
Sure. So my contract, TV News works in contracts generally. So my contract ended 2 weeks before my husband graduated from law school. And so it just kind of was serendipitous that we both were figuring out our next journey at the same time. And I wanted to move home. Family is very important to me. I'm a big traditionalist. I'm very sentimental, and I wanted to come closer to my family. So we moved back to Chicago, and a little bit after we moved back here, I started working at the Alzheimer's Association, which is a cause just so near and dear to my heart. Both of my grandmothers passed away from the disease, and I wanted to take my passion for journalism and my passion for helping people and those with Alzheimer's and really turn it professional. And I was able to combine those two. I was able to take my knowledge of how to create a story with journalism and talk to people who are living with the disease, help them tell their stories to other people so we reduce the stigma. So I felt like I was using my journalism training to help people, which is combining two things that I've really always cared about.
That's wonderful, and that's not an untraditional move in the media.
No.
News is hard. Anchoring the morning show is hard. It's a quick burnout.
And people think of it as a glamorous job, and like I said, I've had so many wonderful experiences, but I also was working 18-hour days, every holiday, every weekend, nights. I would get the call in, the producer didn't come in. Can you work, instead of coming in at 2 a.m., can you come in at 11 p.m. and work the whole time for not much more than minimum wage?
Right, yeah.
Another misconception.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
It's hard work, and it's not that I'm afraid of hard work by any means, it's just a different lifestyle. And I knew when my husband and I had started dating that we wanted to have a family, and I wanted to be home on Christmas morning and not anchoring the morning show. So I made that switch early on so that I could have that great work-life balance that we all try to achieve.
That's right. Well, and I always tell people that, television is a lifestyle. It's also a lot of lifestyles, a lot of years in 1 year. You live a lot because those days are so big, and so you get a lot done in one day.
And those people you work with are your family.
Yes,
some of my best friends to this day are the people from my first 3 markets. There's something in the newsroom that has this great camaraderie, and you just are bonded for life.
You are bonded for life because you've been through a lot together.
Yes.
So how do you think all of this experience prepared you for the chamber? First, hang on to that, what attracted you to it? Because the job came up and the next thing, you were applying for it. Did you plan on any of this?
No.
Yeah.
It's so interesting when you kind of zoom out at life, how all the pieces kind of are all interconnected. So I was at the Alzheimer's Association, and I was made a manager and had this great team and loved my job there. But I wanted more, and I was yearning for, I want more training. I think I'm good at this, but I want to make sure I am. I want to be better. And I just didn't have those opportunities there. And so I'm the type of person that if the opportunity doesn't exist, I find it. And I was like, how can I become better? I can go get a master's. And so I was looking at programs, and North Central here in town has a fantastic master's in leadership studies. I looked at the curriculum, was like, every one of those classes is something I want to take. I want to take conflict resolution, global leadership, organizational business. And so I went there really just to better myself. And in turn, better my career, not necessarily knowing what that would look like, but just make myself a better manager. And during that process, I was able to meet a lot of people here in town. And I was able to connect and be like, this is where I want to be. I want to be living back here in Naperville. And if I'm here, if I'm living here and I'm here with my family, I don't ever want to be anonymous. I don't want to just run to the store and run home. I want to see people. I want to connect with people and feel like we're all a family, even though it is a big town. And so while I was getting more and more involved in North Central, I kind of felt this pull to come back to Naperville. The Alzheimer's Association is located in Chicago, so I cutting down on the commute wasn't a bad thing either. And so I heard about the position, and someone said, hey, would you ever consider applying for this? And I was like, what? They sent me the job description, I read it, and I was like, yes, yes, yes. Every single thing on the job description is something that I felt like I could do and I wanted to do. So I heard about the position, and I just ran at it head first. I did a ton of research about it and found out how I could fit in. Just because I felt that I would be good at the role, I also wanted to make sure the chamber was a good fit for me, which is why I did the research. And in all my interviews, I kept talking about this journalism training, about the ability to research everything, about the learned ability to really look at things, I'd like to think, with an unbiased view and understand what's true and what the facts are. And I think using my leadership skills and my community knowledge and my journalism training, it really brings me together to make hopefully a good leader for the chamber and for our community.
I think you're off to a good start. So talk to me a little bit about moving the chamber forward, because like everything else right now, not-for-profits are struggling, though you're a little bit different than your traditional one, but it's a membership-based. Chambers in general are struggling. Those types of organizations have some challenges in this digital, online, social media type of world. So what are your thoughts on what you need to do?
Sure. Well, the great thing is Nikki Anderson really put us in a fantastic position. I mean, let's be real. The foundation she built for me is wonderful, and I'm really grateful to her for that. How I'm looking at moving forward. So my generation is not a generation of joiners. You know, we're not people who join just because our parents join or because we're supposed to join. We want to see the value in joining. And so it's my job to show you that value. And I'm kind of using a little bit of your model here, so hear me out. When a national news story happens, you can go to thousands of places for the news information. When an Illinois story happens, you can go thousands of places. But when a Naperville story happens, where are you looking?
I hope NCTV. I hope
You know,
so.
you're looking here because you're the people who are in the community, who are telling the news, who understand the stories. That's kind of my vision for the chamber, is I want people, you can Google what is leadership. You can find leadership information on the internet. You can find it at a national conference or a Chicago conference. But what you don't have is Leadership Naperville, which is here in town, which is where you get to interact with the mayor, the city manager, and other leaders and get to hear about our town. So what I'm doing is kind of taking the model and hyper-localizing it and focusing it on things that are important, that are here, and I want people to find their place. You know, we're talking about, we have a great women in business group, a great YPN group. We're adding a few new committees in 2020 I'm really excited about. One of them is diversity and inclusion. I want to open up some more conversations, and I want the chamber to be a great leader in those conversations. And again, I just want people to find their place. I want people to find their people, and not everybody loves a general event, so I'm going to make a few more specific events where people can come and connect with some like-minded people or some different-minded people and learn things from each other.
That's awesome. What's your first 100 days look like? A run,
a lot of
race?
meetings. A race. It's crazy. It's wonderful. I wouldn't have it any other way. I say better busy than bored. I'm not bored. My first 100 days is fact-finding. You know, I feel like I keep harping on that journalism training, but I truly see a lot of value in that, is I'm having 15-minute, 30-minute, hour-long meetings with people at their place of business or at my office, finding out what they like. I have these ideas like the Diversity and Inclusion Committee, but do people actually like them? Now, the reason I feel comfortable talking about it is because what I've heard is yes. People really want something like that. So I'm going out there and kind of beta testing my ideas and doing like mini focus groups to see if my ideas have legs.
That's awesome. Well, we wish you a lot of luck, and we'll check back in about a year and have another conversation.
Oh, absolutely. Well, thank you so much.
We're going to be right back with more Naperville Notables. Stay tuned.
Stay up to date on what's happening in our neighborhoods and schools at City Hall and all across town with NCTV17 News Update. Emailed directly to your inbox once a day, Monday through Friday, this 2-minute video not only tells you the latest news, but shows it to you.
And that's what's happening right here in Naperville.
And the best part, it's free. So sign up today at nctv17.com/subscribe.
Naperville Crime Stoppers.
Yes, I'd like to report some suspicious activity in my neighborhood. How does this work?
Yes, thanks for calling. Your call is anonymous, and I'll not ask for your name. Instead, you'll be identified by a tip number. In a few weeks, call back with the tip number you received, and I will let you know the status of your tip. If an arrest is made, you could receive a reward up to $1,000.
How do I get the reward money if you don't know who I am?
Well, when you call back, we set up a time and a place to drop the money. You will be safe, and nobody will know you gave Crime Stoppers a tip.
Okay, well, here's what's going on.
Give the gift of downtown Naperville. Treat someone special to a great shopping, dining, or spa experience with downtown Naperville gift cards. Good at more than 150 businesses. Purchase them at 4 convenient locations or online and have them mailed directly to the lucky recipient. Best of all, there's no purchasing fee. Just choose an amount and send. It's that easy. The perfect gift for anyone at any time.
In Naperville, we know that community counts. In fact, it's in our name. As Naperville Community Television, we have the privilege of showcasing what makes this award-winning city a wonderful place to raise a family, to make a living, and to enjoy life's journey. That's why it's our mission to capture on camera those special moments that connect us. Those stories that impact our lives, stories you won't see anywhere else. So watch Naperville Community Television on air, online, and on social media.
Welcome to Naperville Notables. I'm Liz Spencer. A conversation with people making an impact in our community. Joining me today is Andrea Ingram, and you're the new CEO of the DuPage Children's Museum.
Yes, I am.
Well,
Thank
welcome.
you very much. Thank you. Thrilled to be here.
I'm glad to have you. I'm really interested in talking to you a little bit about your background. I see a lot of child development in your background, but a lot of different jobs that you used all that. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, you'll be surprised. I get that question a lot. How did you go from being a business lawyer to running a children's museum and all points in between? You know, I spent the first decade or so of my professional life being a litigator. And it was a fabulous learning ground for learning how to focus on what was most relevant and to solve problems. And I loved it. And I loved working with people and talking to people. But I wanted to pivot and apply those skills of advocacy into an arena in which I believed I could really make a difference. So I had the great honor of coming back to Illinois and working with Voices for Illinois Children and just some policy icons like Jerry Sturmer and Maria Whelan and John Bowman at what was the National Center on Poverty Law at the time, and really learning how I could complete that pivot and make a difference in new ways. And that really started with learning about all the things that impact children as they're being developed, all the factors that families encounter in their journeys that either support them in helping them towards self-sufficiency and the whole development of their child, or create barriers for them. And so it's really been an immersive process since coming to Illinois.
And so you spent a little time at DCFS as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredibly important work. I mean, these really are our most vulnerable children and families. And it was a great privilege to be asked to go in and help lead the organization and make the best effort to realign and to make some change that would impact these youth. And again, there is nothing more powerful feeling than being in a position to make a difference for the people most in need. And I think, you know, especially coming from a place like Voices for Illinois Children, and you asked about child development at the outset, and here I am back in the land of early childhood, but it is really important that a child's development and that architecture of their brain, it is so important at the beginning, but they continue on. And at DCFS, you know, learning how to make sure that you continue to worry about the kids in care who are there into their teens and are trying to move on into adult self-sufficiency. That was just another way of learning about all the barriers and the challenges that face our families, that honestly, if we come together as a collective and come together to think through these issues, we can all make a difference. And so being in a position at DCFS to do that for a few years with Brian Samuels and the rest of the team, it was a remarkable, I felt remarkable about that.
Sounds like a remarkable experience.
Yes.
So how did we get from DCFS to museums? That seems like another pivot.
Well, you know, it's not, you know, it's, you know, you asked me about being an advocate, and did I move from being a child advocate to museums? What's that? I'm still an advocate to this day. And what I did was take in the essence of child advocacy, which is worried about the child, but also worrying about all of the adults who influence that child's development. What's happening in their communities, their families, and their schools. I literally matriculated that philosophy, that understanding into a cultural institution. And I gotta say, when I was considering going and working at the Museum for Science and Industry, a mentor, Paula Wolf, kept sending me this job posting, and I kind of deflected it a few times until it dawned on me that I shouldn't worry about the fact that it was about science or it was about education, which at the time I didn't consider my strike zone. What I could see is that it was a place I could make a difference and bring those values of impacting a child's whole development into an iconic cultural institution and really work to implement those change management lessons in a way that could have a deep influence on how cultural institutions think about engaging with their communities and making sure that they are accessible to the whole community, not just a select few.
Right, well, accessibility is key there.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about the role that you played at the Museum of Science Industry.
So again, the reason the role was attractive is because David Messina, the CEO, and the board, incredible board, who really wanted to make a big bang difference in impacting science education in a way that was worthy of an institution that has planes, trains, and automobiles, and now tornadoes. So by bringing me in, I was given the opportunity to make investments in science education that did exactly what I had said before. So what can we do to really support communities engaging around science education around their children? So it's all about not replicating the wheel. Where are the kids? Who are the adults? So our kids go to out of school time arenas every day. And those people in those community organizations would love to have an impact on that child and would love the resources. So focusing on how to do train the trainer models to really extend science education into our community partners. Figuring out how to support teachers in the middle grades from our lowest resource schools and the teachers that had the highest need to learn. So thinking about those strategies. So for me, making sure that the museum was the best place to learn and positioning all of our staff, then thinking about those strategies outside the building that we could implement to make a big bang impact. And so the result of that was a set of programs called the Welcome to Science Initiative, which was all about welcoming people to science, welcoming kids to science. It was for all kids. And the unifying characteristic of the work we did was to eliminate the barriers that stood in the way of kids realizing their full potential in science, technology, medicine, and engineering. That same philosophy now, assessing what we can do here at the DuPage Children's Museum, is what has motivated me to come out to this area and see what we can do together.
That's excellent. Well, I hear from you, advocacy and breaking down barriers too.
Yes.
Yes. Bring it to where you are now, where that child is now.
Right.
So that's awesome. So talk to me now. Now you're here at the DuPage Children's Museum. We're thrilled to have you. You're bringing in this advocacy, this wanting to get to children where they're at, and a little bit of science background. How does that all play together for you at the DuPage Children's Museum?
Well, what really convinced me to come here was a strong board who, with all of these messages, resonated with them and a desire to have an impact. There has been a lot of amazing work done at this institution. It is beloved for a reason. It is a fabulous place. It does great work with 45 different school districts. So the foundation is there. Sarah Orleans, who I just met with earlier today, fabulous, righted that ship, developed relationships, and it is positioned in all the right ways. Thinking in terms of, creativity and STEM and play. Everybody's talking the right talk and walking that walk. And now the opportunity, which is just a gift that I've been given, is to sit back and say, okay, from this platform, what more can we do with our community partners? What role should we fill? And I'm not sitting here, I'm not coming in on day 11, literally, saying that we know exactly what we're going to do, but we know we're going to do it in partnership, that we are not about reinventing the wheel, that we understand that there are wonderful people out there working with kids and who are remarkable early childhood providers in a lot of different places. And so it's about finding that niche. What is it that we do particularly well, and what's the gap in our communities, particularly communities of need in our area, and what can we do to really help support families in the development of their children and to directly support their children engaging with exceptional opportunities to play.
So you mentioned this was day 11 for you.
Yes.
So what does the rest of the 89 of your 100 days look like? I do some quick math.
Yeah, boy, that's going to go fast.
It is.
Really diving in and meeting people. The response from this community has been remarkable. Again, this is a beloved institution, and we have a tremendous team who is out every day. And so the first 100 days is really about working with the team, understanding what we're doing, what else we could do, but talking to community partners, meeting others who are doing similar work, and then really just understanding the landscape of the area so that when we can sit back together and figure out, okay, how do these values that we share in supporting the development of our young children and supporting their families and those around them, what does that mean? What can we do to really, at a strategic level, support the networks around them to really have the biggest impact? So lots of conversations, lots and lots of conversations, lots of thinking about strategic planning, lots of thinking about engaging stakeholders and developing the processes through which to do that.
Well, I think it sounds all exciting. I think you bring a lot of neat skills and passion. Most important, I feel your passion for what you do, and I love that. So thanks for taking some time out of your 11th day for us. I appreciate that.
It's my pleasure.
It's been a whirlwind for you, but I appreciate it, and we wish you a lot of luck. I'm going to check back with you, too. Hope to get you back on Notables in about a year to hear about everything that has gone just super well for you.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time, and this is very exciting for all of us at the DuPage Children's Museum, and I hope a year from now I will be able to answer concretely about what we mean by vision and strategic priorities.
That's excellent. Well, it's an exciting time for Naperville, too, so thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching Naperville Notables.
Up on Naperville News 17. The final Mosier Tower report is in. Now the question is, how to proceed? A new library app makes a visit more sensory friendly. And a program of giving is a legacy left behind by a Naperville Central standout. Hello everyone, I'm Kim Pierce. Thanks for joining us for this week's Naperville News. After several years of architects assessing Mosier Tower, the final report on repairs and costs is in. At the latest Riverwalk meeting, commissioners got the full report on several options for Mosier Tower. The first would be repairing the structure for just over $2.1 million. The second option would be repairing it and partially enclosing the lower section of the structure for about $2.9 million. Both options include the costs of maintaining the structure for 30 years. The first two alternatives also have the option of doing construction in phases, but that's unlikely because it would be more expensive. The last option would be demolishing the 160-foot tall structure for $726,000. Planning, Design, and Construction commissioners who make recommendations to the Riverwalk Commission said repairing the nearly 20-year-old structure would be the best alternative.
I looked at it and said, would I rather spend $700,000 to tear it down or 1.4 to leave it standing? We have $7 million invested as a community in it. I think it's worth it to do the repairs and leave it standing for many more years.
Councilwoman Judy Broadhead was at the meeting and said she was in support of repairing the structure in one phase. Novak said the Riverwalk is an iconic site in Naperville, and if Mosher Tower wasn't on it, it wouldn't seem right to some.
We had our student representative here yesterday, and that individual was saying, he goes, you know what? He goes, my generation, it's been there our entire life, so it's something that we've always seen, and you know, they're taking their you know, prom pictures and things like that at it, so it's something that is part of their generation.
The Riverwalk Commission will vote on their recommendation to City Council next month, who will have the final say on Mosher Tower's fate. The new year marks a good time to evaluate the state of DuPage County. DuPage County Board Chairman Dan Cronin recently addressed several local chambers of commerce in his annual State of the County address.
We want to make and continue to make it a wonderful place to work, to live, to raise a family. We're particularly focused on the economic development and the jobs. We believe that it's a destination. We have over 650,000 jobs now in DuPage County. And so with that, there are many challenges.
One of the challenges Cronin discussed in his speech was the ongoing battle against opioid addiction in our area. A new DuPage County program through WorkNet DuPage will aim to connect recovery addicts with meaningful work. After Cronin's address, he was joined on stage by DuPage County State's Attorney Bob Berlin, who discussed things like the impact of cannabis legalization, and Greg Bedelov, the president of Choose DuPage, who reviewed the county's economic health. The panelists answered questions from the audience and Power Forward DuPage's Karen Charbot, who served as moderator for the discussion. The first retail tenant for the new Central Park Place building in downtown Naperville has been announced. Sweetwater's Coffee and Tea will have a spot on the first floor in the development going up on the Old Nichols Library site. The coffee house will be located on the south side of the building at 110 South Washington Street. Sweetwater's Coffee and Tea got its start in Michigan. This will be their first location in Illinois. The cafe sells a variety of coffees and teas, along with specialty drinks, pastries, and light fare like quiche and sandwiches. Construction on the building is expected to be completed by mid-year. Central Park Place is a $21 million four-story development going up around the Old Nichols Library, which was granted landmark status by City Council in 2017. He's back. James Holzhauer appeared on a special primetime Jeopardy to finally decide who's the greatest player of all time. Our own Christian Canizal headed to some local watch parties to catch him in action.
Fans of James Holzhauer sat in excitement as the Naperville native was back on Jeopardy! This time around, he faced off against other legends of the game show in Ken Jennings and Brad Rutter. The first contestant to win 3 games gets $1 million and the title of the greatest of all time. No stranger to James being on Jeopardy! His loyal fans gathered at several watch parties to support him and some local nonprofits.
As a lot of people know, Alex Trebek, the host of Jeopardy, has pancreatic cancer, stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And Zedeker, who's the leader of Lust Gardens fundraising efforts here in Naperville, lost a family member to pancreatic cancer. And we're so happy we can use this positive experience about a Naperville native to bring people's attention to a really good cause.
In June of 2019, Jeopardy! James donated over $1,000 to the Lust Garden Pancreatic Cancer Research Walk. And though he lost the first game just $200 short to Jennings, the night was still a victory, as the viewing party at Two Brothers Barrel House brought in over $1,000 for the Lust Garden Foundation. Community members gathered at Quigley's Irish Pub for the second primetime game, and to raise awareness for homelessness in DuPage County.
James Holzhauer and the Holzhauer family are incredible, and Ian collecting this party with his family to help support DuPage Pads goes a long way towards ending homelessness here locally in our community.
And for a second night in a row, Community members raised over $1,000 for a nonprofit. And Jeopardy James fans were treated to the sweet taste of victory as Holzhauer won in the landslide. Quigley's was once again packed for a pivotal Game 3 of Jeopardy Go. Jennings pulled away in the first match, leaving no doubt he would win the game. He now has a 2-1 lead over Holzhauer at the time of this recording. In attendance at the viewing party was another Jeopardy winner, Naperville's own Beth Stewart. The 2-time Jeopardy winner says James still has a chance to walk away as the GOAT.
Someone once said the main thing with Jeopardy is luck, luck, and luck. So sometimes you have a bad break, but he's got another opportunity, and he knows a lot, and I think he's going to do really, really well.
For Naperville News 17, I'm Christian Canizal.
At the time of this recording, there were still games left to play. But to find out who won the GOAT title, watch for updates on our website, nctv17.com, and our social media sites. Coming up, the DuPage County Sheriff's Office new plan to help opioid-addicted inmates.
Welcome back to the game show, Who Is It? Today our contestant Sally is in the process of figuring out which one of our panelists is the real Crime Stopper. Sally, you have one more question for each panelist, then you will need to decide.
Number 1, when I call Crime Stoppers with the tip, do I need to leave my name?
Absolutely not. You remain anonymous.
Number 2, if my tip leads to an arrest, what's in it for me?
A cash reward for up to $1,000 for one thing.
And number 3, what is the Crime Stoppers tip line?
630-420-6006.
So who is it? Oh, sorry, time's up. Sally, we need your decision. Who's the real Crime Stopper?
They all are.
You're right, but how did you know?
'Cause I'm a Crime Stopper too.
We tell everybody's stories big and small. Everybody's story matters to us, and it comes in a variety of shapes and sizes, and that's what makes it so special. We don't always need a big story. Sometimes we want a story that makes us laugh. Sometimes we want a story that we relate to. Sometimes we want to cry with that story. But more importantly, we want to hear the stories about our people in the community.
The DuPage County Sheriff's Office announced a new initiative to help opioid-addicted inmates stay clean. Vivitrol is a drug that helps reduce cravings for heroin and opioid users for about 30 days. Inmates that qualify can choose to receive the drug shortly before their release to help stay clean as they rejoin the community.
Right before we leave, we give them that shot so they have that extra month of virility to fight any addictive qualities and to keep going in the rehabilitative services.
To make Vivitrol even more accessible, inmates can indicate interest in the drug discreetly via tablets in the jail. 9 inmates showed interest in the program within 24 hours of the announcement. It's another step in Sheriff Mendrick's plan to provide a holistic approach to rehabilitation in the DuPage Correctional Facility.
Vivitrol is a step where we're trying to now look beyond jail because we don't want them to just go home, start doing what they were doing again, and be back in our correctional facility next week. We're trying to actually make an impact that lasts.
The program is a collaboration between the Sheriff's Office and the DuPage County Health Department and is funded by a grant from the Bureau of Justice Assistance. The new year brings a new twist to the Naperville Police Department's A Safer Naper campaign. This year, the NPD will be highlighting one of their programs or initiatives each month instead of a monthly safety topic.
We've got a lot of community outreach programs that we want you to be aware of. We've been very fortunate as an organization to have these resources, but it doesn't do us any good if the community is not aware of them. So we're trying to advertise a little bit more of that this year.
They're starting 2020 off with Connect for Life, a grant-funded program that was launched in 2016 to combat the opioid epidemic. Anyone struggling with an alcohol or drug addiction can get connected with a treatment provider through the NPD.
If you're looking for information, give us a call. If you have a loved one that's suffering, even again, they don't have to live in Naperville, they need help, give us a call. And we'll do everything we can to facilitate that.
Connect for Life participants can turn in their drugs without being criminally charged for possessing them. The service is free and doesn't require insurance. The District 203 board discussed changes that will be made to summer school at their most recent meeting. The board voted to approve changes like providing an SAT prep course for high school students and the integration of social emotional learning opportunities for K through 8 students. There was also discussion on the goals of summer school, which some felt could be reworded. Currently, one of the goals is to, quote, mitigate the effects of summer learning loss.
I think this is a very soft goal. I think when we present our educational goals, it should always be about learning more and advancing. And if your justification is, we just want to ensure that we don't go backwards, I'm not sure how much value I place in the education you're offering.
Leong later clarified that he isn't against summer school, he just thinks the goals need to be reframed. Board President Kristen Fitzgerald said those goals can be reevaluated with future updates. The board unanimously approved the changes to the program. The Naperville Public Library recently launched an app to make their spaces more accessible to those with disabilities. Their new Sensory NPL app will help visitors with autism spectrum disorder or other sensory disabilities. Detailed maps of each building and voice-guided library overviews let the user plan their trip and find whatever they're looking for. It's especially helpful for those who'd like to find a low-key area of the library and avoid having sensory overload and distress from busy areas like the children's section.
When you see somebody who has this getting agitated, the best thing to do is guide them to a spot where maybe it's a little bit quieter, maybe there's less sensory information going on, and they can calm down and collect themselves, because in that moment, you know, they're going through a lot and they're in pain.
The app is inclusive, allowing for fonts to be changed to Open Dyslexic for those with dyslexia, and also allows for nonverbal visitors to communicate with library staff.
I like this place.
We want to be able to have a relationship with everyone who walks in, and obviously communication is the biggest barrier in between that. And if we can close that barrier even a little bit through this app, then that's a wonderful thing.
The app is available at every Naperville Public Library, and you can also download it on your phone. Coming up, a music mentor program gives incarcerated teens a gift of note.
You work hard, and you want to see your efforts pay off, literally. Whether you're dreaming of retirement, growing your business, or leaving a legacy for future generations, at Busey, we help you realize the possibilities of tomorrow. We listen to your needs and goals to create a sound strategy for you and your family. Enjoy the achievements of your life and work. We'll handle the rest. Busey, your dream, our promise.
People spend, on average, a third of their time online watching videos. A single minute of video is worth 1.8 million words. Adding professional video to marketing emails can boost click-through rates by as much as 300%. So leverage the power of video. Consider NCTV17's production services for your marketing needs. Contact us to begin the conversation today.
College Park in Naperville's historic district has closed. Property owner Little Friends is turning the site of the former playground at the corner of School and Columbia Streets into a parking lot. Patrick Scarr, spokesman for Little Friends, told us in a written statement, based on increasing complaints to the police department by a few neighbors about on-street parking, and to be able to turn the property over to its eventual new owner free and clear, we determined the best course of action was to terminate the $1 per year lease with the Park District during the off-season. The new parking lot will allow more off-street parking for the staff of Little Friends for the duration of their ownership. The nonprofit is currently trying to sell their nearly 4-acre property to allow them to move to a new site. The playground equipment has been removed and saved by the Park District for a different location or new park. The DuPage County Sheriff's Office was able to help those in need get a safe start to the new year. With a generous donation from AAA, the Sheriff's Office was able to provide 26 DuPage County families with brand new car seats for their little ones. As part of the Safe Kids program, car seat technicians were on hand to inspect residents' existing car seats, as well as train them on how to install their new one.
It's kind of like teach a man to fish. You know, what we're trying to do is not just hand somebody a tool, but we're showing them how to properly use a tool. So if it's going to come in or out of this car or another one, they know how to do it to keep their children safe.
With the car seats costing over $100 each, it was a welcome gift for the families.
At this time, we wouldn't be able to afford it because they are kind of pricey, and for us, it was a blessing, honestly.
Macias said she learned new things thanks to the car seat technicians and is happy to now be able to help others.
So now that I know how to install it because they taught me how to do it the right way, now if I have friends with kids or toddlers, now I could help them out.
The DuPage County Sheriff's Office said they hope to have another car seat donation event later this year. A recent spike in flu cases has residents concerned about how to stay flu-free this winter. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention estimates there have been about 6.4 million cases of the flu this season.
I would say in the last few weeks, the flu season has really picked up.
Dr. Jonathan Pinsky is the medical director of infection control at Edward Elmhurst Health. He said spikes in the amount of flu cases occur every year, though the strain currently popping up is more commonly seen in the spring.
We see that really every winter. We see a little bit of flu activity. It's not really higher than it is in previous years. Maybe it's a little bit earlier in the year, and it's with a different strain of influenza B.
Pinsky said keeping good hand hygiene is the best way to keep yourself safe from the flu. Young children and those who spend time around young children are more at risk than others. Flu season traditionally runs as late as April, so it's not too late to get your flu shot if you haven't already done so. A program that's run by high school mentors teaches teens who are incarcerated how to play an instrument. Our own Aisha Ashley Hausa tells us more.
These two brothers are clearly talented, and they're passing their musical knowledge on to others who want to learn as well. In 2017, Nicholas Betcher's 8th grade teacher tasked the class with creating something that would make a difference in the community. And so, the No Repeats Project was born.
Our goal is to introduce the teens that are incarcerated to various different types of music to try to reduce the risk factor in them coming back into the criminal justice system.
The program gives teens in the Illinois Detention Center in Warrenville a chance to master an instrument through one-on-one teaching. The other mentors, who are also high school students, stop by once a week to give them lessons.
I have been teaching for a while, and some people pick up right away. It's just amazing because I feel like I can give him harder things to work on, and he just picks up with it right away, so it's been really good.
D'Amico is talking about one of her students who started learning the violin and cello just a couple of months ago and has already made progress.
I actually tried to play the cello once when I was little, but it was too hard. But then one day I came here and I saw them in the library, and I was like, oh, let me try that. And then it was fun. I liked it. It came easy.
After all their hard work, the students have a chance to showcase what they learned by putting on a concert for families and the other youth at the facility. It's not always easy, but the brothers are happy they can pass on their knowledge to others.
Because music has been such a transformative experience for us, and being able to share that with everyone else is just a really fulfilling experience.
Making a difference, one music note at a time. Reporting for Naperville News 17, I'm Aisha Ashley Hausa.
They hope to extend the Music Mentor program to other detention centers in Illinois. Up next, a feeder program helping water polo players achieve their goals.
Using NCTV17 is an opportunity to get the word out of what you do and what you create and the passion that you have, and puts the face with the business and then the voice with the business. It gives a relaxed atmosphere of somebody asking you questions about what you do and explaining it in a very succinct manner in a short period of time. The cost of it is minimal in my opinion as a small business owner, because you have to use audio and visual content as much as you possibly can to get the word out. And you want a good, solid looking, high definition, perfectly done professional in the studio. This is the place to be. It'll pay for itself 100-fold because it tells you, the customer, exactly what you want them to know. And then they can say, oh, I like that, and go click, I'm going over there and I'm doing business with you. So I'd recommend coming here immediately.
Naperville North and Naperville Central High Schools are powerhouses in the state of Illinois when it comes to water polo. The two schools have a combined 18 top 3 finishes in the IHSA State Series between the boys and girls teams. A key to their success? The feeder programs, such as West Suburban Water Polo.
My dad, he coaches here at Naperville North. He coached me when I was 4 all the way up until I was 20, playing in college. So my dad's a huge part of this program and water polo.
Mike McWhorter is the son of Annie McWhorter, the head girls water polo coach at North. After his playing days, Mike quickly jumped into coaching, joining Waubonsie Valley as their girls head coach, as well as West Suburban.
Especially the 11U to 14U transition, seeing them go from just floating around the pool to actually seeing the strokes, seeing the ability to play polo, throw the ball, learn to tread. That's a huge experience for me because I get to see them go from floating to now an experienced athlete.
One of those players excelling is Megan Roberts, and she was rewarded with a trip to nationals to play with other top players.
It's awesome. My favorite tournament that I went to was California for nationals, and it was just really awesome experience, just playing against awesome people and like meeting really cool people and being coached by awesome coaches.
In fact, her trip to California isn't all that rare. The West Suburban team has also traveled to Arizona and will soon embark on a trip to Michigan.
We have a trip going to Michigan here in a month or so, just kind of get us around the Chicagoland area plus outside. We had one of our U14 teams go out to Arizona for Champions Cup, so we're playing out there. So we're trying to travel the nation with these guys to work into high school, so they travel in high school and throughout their high school team.
We get beat up a lot. It is really hard outside the states, but it's really fun because we get to see water polo players who are better than us and stronger than us, and we get to learn from them. It's a really great experience.
Of course, beat up isn't literal, but water polo isn't without its more physical moments, something that is actually attractive to players.
It's like much better than swimming because there's like contact and there's like all this stuff that you can add into it, and you can do your own like moves. It's a really fun sport.
Really aggressive. It's like I like it more than swim, but I do love being in the water. I've always loved being in the water a lot.
It really teaches you how to work together as a team, but it also teaches you how to be tough against, there's a lot of stuff going on. You have to learn how to deal with it and be tough and really try to accomplish your goal of putting the ball into the goal.
The goal for the program is to prepare players for the rigors of the high school game, but that's not always where the train stops for some players.
I want to get into a Division I college. That's kind of my main goal. And I would more short-term goals. I want to go to regionals and nationals this year and JOs.
And with the recent success of both the feeder programs as well as the high school teams, those aren't necessarily pipe dreams. Not if the McWhorters have something to say about it. I'm Kevin Jackman.
And if you have an idea for a sports story feature, you can let us know at newstips@nctv17.com. One former NCHS student's memory lives on in the form of a gift card drive benefiting those who need it most. Naperville News 17's Casey Krajewski has the story.
Justin Wegner was diagnosed with sarcoma soft cell cancer less than a year after graduating from Naperville Central. The NCHS community rallied around him with the hashtag JWegStrong. But even in the darkest time of his life, Justin was still looking to help others.
If you knew Justin
or you kind of think you know him from the stories that you read, you know that it just fits with him, that his personality was always about caring for others and thinking of others before himself.
During his treatment at Lurie Children's Hospital in Chicago, the Wegners estimate they spent about 100 nights at the Ronald McDonald House. There they found a drawer full of gift cards intended to give families a welcome reprieve from life in the hospital.
It's good to get out of the hospital and get a cup of coffee, with a Starbucks gift card, or a sandwich, not hospital food all the time.
Justin had found a perfect way to give back.
Justin actually contacted me when he was first diagnosed with cancer. So he asked if the JKB Foundation here, which is a leadership group of kids, could get together and run something. And he goes, how about a gift card drive? And I went, yeah, we can get that done. And that's how it came to be.
Baldwin collects the cards and checks their value, and he'll take a card worth any amount.
I had one donated today that had 7 cents on it, and the girl that gave it to me felt bad. She's like, it's only got 7 cents. I go, well, what they do is they take that 7 cents and they combine it with another card. So if the other card is $10, it's $10.07. Nothing goes to waste.
Now in its 4th year, the drive has generated more than $25,000 in gift cards since it started. But this drive is the first since Justin's death in July of 2019.
He touched a lot of lives in his short life, more so than we could have ever even imagined. And this is one piece of his legacy that we want to keep.
When all is said and done, Justin had a dream, and his dream was to give back to the Ronald McDonald House, who gave so much to him. So as long as I'm a teacher here, and there's a lot of coaches here and a lot of faculty members that remember Justin and love Justin, this gift card drive will go on forever at Naperville Central.
For Naperville News 17, I'm Casey Krajewski.
And that's what's happening right here in your neighborhood, Naperville. We'll see you next week. Until then, you can catch up on local news by signing up for our NCTV17 news update, delivered right to your inbox Monday through Friday. Sign-up information is right on our website, nctv17.com.
This week's Naperville News 17 is brought to you in part by the following sponsors. This program is partially funded by a grant from the City of Naperville. Naperville Sports Weekly is brought to you by presenting sponsor, BMO Harris Bank.
Happy New Year's and welcome to the first show of 2020. I'm Kevin Jackman filling in for Allie Coletta. We've got boys and girls basketball, wrestling, and hockey, but we begin with bowling, a sport that is quickly rolling towards the postseason. Mattia Valley coming off a big win over Naperville North, now taking on Neuqua Valley at the Fox Bowl. The Wildcats also coming off a win. Neuqua Valley's Sarah Bork gets the Wildcats off to a hot start as she knocks down 10. Bork rolls a 407 series on the night. Matia's Alicia Anton was steady and fantastic on the night. She nabs the strike en route to a 529 series. Neuqua Valley's Remy Celentano standing out in her second game, piecing together a 151 score thanks to frames like this one. Alyssa Votava, she saved her best for last, stringing together 10 great frames to net herself a 181 score in the final game, in part because of 4 consecutive strikes. The Mustangs, however, stay hot. Sydney Lewis closes out her day with a bang. How about a 193 score, and the Mustangs win by a wide margin.
Personally, I did pretty well, much better than my games before earlier this week. But I think the team really worked hard today, even though we might have not won. It was a really good match, and we all had a lot of fun.
When I didn't make a strike or spare, my teammates held me up really well, and overall, we just had a great team spirit and team sport.
Parkside Lanes hosting this DVC duel between Naperville Central and Waubonsee Valley. Both teams in search of their first conference win with the postseason just 1 month away. Waubonsee Valley freshman Ashley Sanchez is on a roll early on as she knocks down back-to-back strikes. Ashley Sanchez still cooking. Her third straight strike gives her a turkey, and that's 5 strikes in the first 6 frames. Only a fan can cool the young Warriors' performance off. Red Hawk junior Claire Wunicki working on a career-best performance near the end of Game 1. She rolls a 173, which is a new personal best. Waubonsee junior Vanessa Raketic patiently waits for the 7-pin to fall. It does for another strike. Raketic with a 179 in game number 3. Naperville Central sophomore Jada Armstrong is tops on the team in Game 2 with a 149 as she sends home a strike. One of Naperville Central's top performers is Nicole Fiedlinger. She rolls a team-high 189 in Game 3, and her 453 series is second best on the team. The top bowler on the day is also the only senior on either varsity roster. Haley Springs with a 515 series, a model of consistency with no game lower than 159, as Waubonsee Valley picks up the win by just over 150 pins.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of practices, and the games are getting better and better for everyone, and everyone's score is going up, so it's really good as a team effort. It's not just an individual who's doing well, so it's fun.
Fox Bowl the site, Naperville North and Metea Valley bowling in their first duel of the new year. And prepare yourself for some high scores with the Huskies and Mustangs hunting for some turkeys. We open with the very first frame of the match. Nora Shannon Kasirik getting the duel off on the right foot, knocking down all 10. Matea's Meredith Olaf will do one better. Remember that turkey I was talking about? The Mustang begins her day with a little gobble gobble to a 68 first game score. We find ourselves on the final frame of Game 1 with Jessica Lowe of Naperville North, and she keeps the Huskies in it with a strike for 475 series, second best on the team. Back to Olaf, who is on a serious hot streak, 9 in a row kind of hot streak. She buries another to cap her second game. The streak of 10 means a crazy high 280 game and an 8-10 series. The celebration game also on point. Tough to top that, but here's Game 3's 5th frame for Deanna Fields, and she knocks them all down en route to a 432 day. But Metea crushes it on this day as Rabone closes her day with 6 straight strikes. Metea wins by more than 700 pins.
I'm very, very proud of them. They fought. We left a couple bad shots, and I'm just really proud of how they pulled through. I'm very, very proud of myself. I've been working on a lot of things with our private coach here, and I'm just thrilled with how today went.
We take a break from the game action and get a bit of wise wisdom from the longtime coach of the Neuqua girls basketball team, Mike Williams. It's the latest Coach's Code presented by BMO Harris Bank.
Yeah, our model changes every year depending on the type of players we have and what our
what we're trying to accomplish. And this year we do follow the Belichick way, to do your job. And, you know, they're making every attempt to do their job. I think, you know, they want to do their job. It's just maybe just hasn't come together yet. You know, so we kind of changed it. You know, last year, you know, we'll have something different next year. You know, play next year. You know, a couple of years we've had have fun, play hard, you know, play smart. You know, so different kind of things like that. So.
It's not much of a secret these days. Naperville just happens to produce fantastic swimmers. We take a look at Waubonsee's Ayush Deshpande, who's the latest in a line of state hopefuls in this player profile, presented by Edgewood Clinical Services.
With the 2020 IHSA state meet just over a month away, Waubonsee Valley boys swimming and diving hopes that history will repeat itself. A year ago, the Warriors surprised the field by taking home the third-place state trophy, the second-best finish in the history of the program. One of the key contributors to the team's performance was Ayush Deshpande, who ended the weekend with 4 state runner-up medals, 2 in the 200 and 400 freestyle relays, and second-place finishes in the 200 individual medley and the 100 butterfly. A state qualifier every year since his freshman season in 2017, the senior has proven to be a dynamic swimmer and now looks to add a more vocal leadership role to the WV pool deck.
It's always important being vocal, but also what you do in the pool counts too. So I think kind of leading from the front there, and even when everyone's really tired or no one wants to get up at 5:15 in the morning, especially during like the cold winter, but you kind of just have to stay positive throughout that and keep having good sets and keep encouraging others to have good sets.
According to head coach Chris Hagenbaumer, the goal is to turn those seconds into firsts, but it won't be easy.
Ayush is kind of slotted to do what he is going to do. 200 IM, 100 fly. And this year, those will be the hardest races in state meet. I'm not saying that there are other competitors that are going to have great times, but there are 2 people in the state of Illinois that are the fastest. It is going to be an amazing race. He's working every bit on any weaknesses that he can possibly come up with to try to make up some time, but he's going up one against another competitor, and you know, the 2 of them, it's going to be a great race at state meet.
Coach Hagenbaumer knows something about what it takes to become a state champion. The second-year coach won the 100-meter breaststroke in 1989 in his senior year at Waubonsee Valley. Deshpande credits his coach for the team's mindset heading into last year's state run.
And I think a lot of the credit goes to Coach Hagenbaumer, because at first we always were like, we really need to win the conference or we need to win the sectional. But he kind of told us that end goal is state. So we're not even like fully rested or anything for conference and sectionals, and we kind of know there's always more to give until we get to state. So he does a good job of like keeping us mentally in check for that.
Although Deshpande is the top returning performer, the Warriors have plenty of other talent to help make another state push, with the likes of Lucas Conrads and Elmer Wang handling freestyle and breaststroke events. While Deshpande is making the best of his current season, the future is also very bright for the aquatic star. Next year, he will join former Waubonsee teammate Jared Simpson in Cambridge at Harvard University. After taking 3rd at the state meet in 2018 in the 200 IM, Simpson has been keeping a close eye on his friend and future Crimson teammate.
He's gifted, he's smart, and he's really fast in the pool. And he gets to go be with one of his past teammates, Jared Simpson. And Jared's been on the deck during the winter time watching what Ayush is doing, and you know, he cannot wait to have that team camaraderie again when he gets to school.
I thought the team there was just really funny, really like a great group of guys that I saw myself I could be a part of, and then the coaches there were also really phenomenal, and I like the area a lot. It wasn't even like, it was like a college town / city for us in Cambridge, so that's something I'm really excited about for next year.
With his name etched all across the Waubonsee Valley record books and state medals overflowing in his trophy case, Ayush Deshpande will be able to look back at his Warriors career with great pride, no matter what the final state meet brings. For Naperville Sports Weekly, I'm Justin Cornwell.
Sorry. Psst. What are you doing?
I lost my debit card.
You know, with the BMO Harris checking account, you can freeze and unfreeze your card on our mobile app. And if you need to, you can get a new card instantly at a BMO Harris branch.
That's fantastic.
Then what happens? I don't do spoilers. She gets a new card.
That feeling you get when a bank gives you instant peace of mind. That's the BMO effect.
In Naperville, we know that community counts. In fact, it's in our name. As Naperville Community Television, we have the privilege of showcasing what makes this award-winning city a wonderful place to raise a family, to make a living, and to enjoy life's journey. That's why it's our mission to capture on camera those special moments that connect us, those stories that impact our lives, stories you won't see anywhere else. So watch Naperville Community Television on air, online, and on social media.
Boys basketball is nearing the midway point of its season, and Neuqua is one of the hottest teams in the state. Let's catch up with the Wildcats and our other local teams. Neuqua Valley boys basketball at Mattia Valley just 2 days after Wildcat junior John Pulakaitis scored in a program record 49 points in a win over Bolingbrook. The Mustangs looked to slow him down on District 204's Kick for a Cause night, where over $2,000 was raised for Ronald McDonald House Charities. And into the first quarter, Ethan Tide tips a pass out to McBride, who beats the buzzer with the bank three. Mustangs fired up as they lead 16-10 after one. Midway through the second, Connor Davis drives and kicks to Pulakaitis in the corner. He knocks down the three to put the Wildcats on top, 24-22. The Mustangs come out of the break feeling good, and good ball movement finds Kymari McBride in the corner for a three. A game-high 17 for McBride, Mattia up by 5. Neuqua inching back into the game. Pulakaitis drives middle. Mark Gronowski then finds Connor Davis in the corner for 3, and that cuts the deficit to 33-31. Near the end of the third, Wildcats trap and force a turnover. Max Rivera gets the steal and misses the layup, but Connor Davis puts it back in. Wildcats down just 1. Neuqua able to put the game away with more solid ball movement. Connor Davis to Obuefi for another layup. 13 of the game for the senior as Neuqua Valley comes from behind for a 54-46 win, the first DVC victory of the season for the Wildcats.
Third quarter when we came out, I told my team on the bench, Tariq, I was like, Tariq, I'm about to go off. And I went off, and as soon as I got that first bucket, I was like, it's easy, so I just kept doing more of it, so.
It's a big DVC battle at Naperville Central on Friday night as the 15-1 Waubonsie Valley Warriors travel to Red Hawk territory to take on Naperville Central, who sits undefeated in conference play. And the red and white are off to a quick start as Cam Doherty wrangles the loose ball and lays it in off the glass to tie the game up at 6 early on. 5 minutes left in the first. Dub B in transition with Marcus Skeet moving down the court, shuffles the ball to Isaiah Smith, who steps behind the arc and rainbows in the three for the Warriors to take the lead. Redhawks trying to close the gap in the second quarter. Neil Gupta takes his shot and it falls for 3 points. Central now trails by 10. 4 minutes left until intermission and Central still trailing, but only by single digits after Cam Doherty grabs the low pass and then hits the three. 1 minute left in the first half. Central mishandles the pass and the Warriors scoop it up. Adri Malushi pushes it down court and sets up the alley-oop for Ben Schweiger to finish, getting everyone on their feet as the Warriors lead 36-21. Fourth quarter is much of the same for the Warriors as Schweiger and Malushi play a little give and go for Ben to lay it in. The Warriors walk out of the gym with their 9th win in a row, 73-44.
We came out strong. We knew this was an important game, so everyone had to step up to the challenge. I did whatever my team needed me to do. First half, I wasn't getting really good looks on offense, so I prided myself on defense. And then second half, I started playing better on offense, so I shot my shots and my team trusted me, so I'm just grateful for that.
The Daily Herald, the biggest suburban newspaper, has covered Naperville since 1990. Whether you're at home, at work, or on the way, the Daily Herald offers the full digital experience. Print, online, daily email alerts, and prep sports newsletters. We'll keep you in the know with news, sports, and of course, your neighbors. The Daily Herald, suburban Chicago's information source. People spend on average a third of their time online watching videos. A single minute of video is worth 1.8 million words. Adding professional video to marketing emails can boost click-through rates by as much as 300%. So leverage the power of video. Consider NCTV17's production services for your marketing needs. Contact us to begin the conversation today.
We get all three Valley schools represented in our next series of highlights, starting with the Neuqua and Metea girls basketball teams squaring off. It's like the Neuqua marching band is playing our highlight music, perfectly tuned to the rivalry match between the Wildcats and the Mustangs. Neuqua 7-7, Metea 6-6. We pick things up at the end of the first quarter, where Neuqua's Jada Devine grabs the loose ball and scores the hoop and the harm. Devine scores all 9 of Neuqua's first quarter points. They lead 9-7 after 1. Start of the second quarter now, and Metea opens this one strong. Freshman point guard Kalia Reed hits the nice floater in the lane. It's a 9-9 ball game. Metea starting to get going offensively. Jada Samuels finds a comfy spot on the wing and splashes in the 3. Mustangs now lead 21-17. Third quarter now, Neuqua trying to battle back. Brooke Miller makes a nice defensive play and then takes it all the way to the house and gets the and one opportunity. Neuqua trails by 13, 33-20. Moving ahead to the fourth now, the Wildcats still trying to claw their way back. And this will certainly help. Ellie Weisner finds Jessica Sun for the triple, NV down just 10 with 3 minutes to play. But in the end, Jada Samuels and the Mustangs simply too much to handle. Samuels hits the cold-blooded 3, and Metea rolls to a 47-39 win.
I did well on attacking the gaps and getting open at the 3. The last couple of games I did struggle, but I found my stroke today. So I'm really excited that I did good today.
We hit the lanes for the first 2020 Girls Play of the Week with Metea Valley's Meredith Olaf. She opens up this dual meet with a turkey and doesn't slow down from there. The Mustang in her second game gets 10 strikes in a row. 10, which helps her to a crazy high 8-10 series, the 4th highest series in the state, and sets a school and district record, and now goes down in the NSW record book for this week's Play of the Week.
Neuqua Valley gets to face off with not one, but both Naperville high schools on the mats. And let's start with Central. Senior night at Naperville Central, the Redhawks are looking for one final stand on its home mat against Neuqua Valley, who looks to spoil the party after a loss to North the night before. Let's start the night at 160. Central's Sean King versus Neuqua's David Ridges. And King gets on top, and once King gets on top, he takes control from there. King would start the night with a pin, putting Central up early 6-0. Let's go to 170. Central Shane Roth versus Neuqua's Brian Schaefer, and Roth with no mercy in this one. The late takedown gives him 2 points en route to a technical fall, 17-2. To the heavyweights is Central's Angelo Eklu with a major takedown on Neuqua's Nolan Lebrecht. Eklu would stay on top of Lebrecht for the major decision at 220, 14-3. Final match of the night, Central's Bryce Cooper-Kawa versus Neuqua's Dylan Murphy. Murphy would start things off on top of Cooper-Kawa for some early momentum. However, Cooper-Kawa cleans up his own mess and takes control over Murphy. And that's all she wrote as Central beats the Wildcats by a total score of 62-10.
we respond well and we don't get emotional when we wrestle. We just basically stick to fundamentals, and they drive toughness the entire time. All we talk about is being tough in your matches, whether you're up, whether you're down, whether the person in front of you wins or loses. We go out there and we just try to wrestle as tough as we can.
Neuqua Valley trying to ring in the new year with a win over Naperville North in its first home duel. The Huskies stalking their prey on the road for a crosstown matchup. To the big boys at 2:20. Neuqua's Nolan Lebrecq starts in the up position, and he never gives it up. He turns North's Robert Paget onto his back and seals the pin. Early on, it looks like North's Evan Damari has position, but Neuqua's Gio Spadafora shifts the momentum with a single leg grab and takedown, and that helps him edge out a very close win, 5-4. At 1:26, if you blink, you miss it. Neuqua's Reese Martin puts the lightning quick move on North's Garrett Dane, and he earns the pin just 35 seconds in. Finally, to the 132-pound weight class. It's a back-and-forth round between Cosmo Champion and Dylan Murphy, but the Husky Champion earns the pin, and North wins 42-25.
I think we did really well. Obviously there's some areas we can improve on, but when we were in positions to capitalize, we did it. And even though some of the matches did get away from us, our guys still wrestled hard, so I think it's a good victory.
Next to the cold tundra known as an ice rink, even colder, an outdoor rink. We kick off our hockey coverage with Neuqua and Sandburg. To the Bobby Hole Community Ice Rink for some outdoor hockey featuring Neuqua Valley, who is 11-7, taking on Sandburg, who is 7-11. First period, Neuqua on the attack early. Jake Haggerty finds a loose puck and finds himself a score, 1-0 Neuqua. Eagles looking to respond as Matthew Guerra provides the extra effort. He gets the puck in the back of the twine. We're all tied up at 1. Still in the first, Sandburg attacking again as Colin O'Boyle cruises his way in for the goal. It's a 2-1 Eagles lead. Second period, and it is Neuqua's turn as Daniel Lichman comes in hot and heavy for the goal, and just like that, back tied at 2. Just before the period ends, Neuqua with another chance. Marco Rovito's shot is no good, but Michael Raimondi, he gets the rebound goal to go. 3-2 NV heading to period 3. And it's all Neuqua in that third. Haggerty on fire, netting his second goal of the night. It's 4-2 Cats. Now 5-2 Neuqua, and Marco Rovito scores 2 goals as well. This one a pass that ends up in the back of the net. Neuqua scores 4 times in the third period and goes on to win 7-2.
We knew that if we worked together the entire night and just pushed through, we'd come out on top.
Bring out the Zamboni at 7 Bridges for senior night as Bennett honoring 15 seniors wanting one final statement at home, taking on Mount Carmel. The Caravan looking to spoil the party. Bennett on fire early, puck rolling around, but Frankie Pinello, right place, right time, as he cleans up the mess in front of the net for the goal. PA up early, 1-0. Not even 4 minutes in, and Bennett is still on the attack. This time it's Kyle Welch who gets the puck, no hesitation. He hits Twine. It's 2-0. 3-0 Red Wings now, and we're still in the first as senior JT Kelly gets the long goal to go from the blue line. 4-0 BA heading into the second period. Mount Carmel showing some fight in period 2 as George Keeley finds the loose puck and puts it into the back of the net. Caravan still in a big hole, down 4-1. As the second period comes to an end, it was a quiet night for Bennett's Jacob Runge until he gets the rebound and scores. 5-1 Red Wings heading into the third. To cap off the senior night, senior Owen Vanderleest hits the dagger goal, hitting top shelf and the water bottle as the Red Wings get the big senior night win, 7-1.
We got a really simplified game. We didn't have any goals in the second period because we were trying to do it all ourselves, but when we passed the puck, we're the best team.
It's a strong wrestling family, and it's a strong wrestling program. The Porters and Naperville Central, and Tommy Porter is a part of both. He's also the subject of this feature presented by Edward Medical Group.
Well, he's always supported me. You know, he's always been a great coach to me. Just that added pressure keeps me going, keeps me getting up in the morning. So I really love having him as my coach.
Naperville Central sophomore Tommy Porter is talking about the assistant wrestling coach, Rob Porter, who's also Tommy's dad.
It's been great. It's a special father-son relationship when you're involved in wrestling.
These two Redhawks share that special relationship on the mats at Naperville Central. Rob used to be the head coach at the high school, but now coaches alongside Noah Fitzenreiter. Before his coaching career, Rob won 2 state titles in high school, which Tommy uses as motivation as he takes the mat each meet.
Well, it's always tough to live to that kind of legacy, but it's great having that support behind me and knowing that people believe in me, and they'll always have my back through my whole life, so it's great.
Tommy is more than just his dad's legacy to look up to. Rob's dad, Tommy's grandpa, is also well known in the wrestling world as a past head coach of the University of Illinois wrestling team, which had 9 national qualifiers in his 5 years there.
I think it's great. You know, my dad's been a big influence on our family, obviously, but he's been a big influence in wrestling in general for decades. And to have him as a mentor and then having my success and now Tommy carrying on the tradition, it's a pretty special experience, no doubt about it.
As Rob helps coach Tommy and the rest of the Redhawks through the season, he hopes that his son and peers take away more than just wins and losses at the end of the day.
Well, for me, the sport of wrestling is really about overcoming adversity. And I think that's a big part of growing up and learning how to be a man is, take adversity straight on and the challenge of it. Wrestling's that kind of way. You definitely have a challenge in front of you. Everybody's watching. It's only you out there, and you don't have any excuses. So what I'm hopeful for is that Tommy and all the boys that we have, carry on those lessons on to their full life.
And while Tommy's definitely learning to face those challenges head on, he's also using his family ties to live up to the impressions his dad left in the record book.
I want to be a state champion for sure. That's my ultimate goal. Live up to my dad's legacy and beyond.
And the sophomore has plenty of time to reach those goals, with his dad helping coach him along the way. For Naperville Sports Weekly, I'm Allie Coletta.
For our play of the week, we return to the match for Neuqua vs. North. This move was so quick, we had to slow it way down to figure out exactly what Reese Martin did to put his opponent on his back. Martin not only performs the beautiful takedown, but finishes it off in 35 seconds to earn NSW's play of the week. That's it for this edition of Naperville Sports Weekly. Thanks so much for coming along for the ride. My 30 minutes are up, and Allie will be back next week. In the meantime, find us on Twitter and YouTube for even more prep sports content, and we'll see you next time.